As a GP, I'm really passionate about trying to make our services effective and trying to make sure that people get the best from our services. We're at a fantastic place in primary care that we often know families. We know the settings and difficulties that people have with their lives. So for a lot of people seeing me with mental health problems, I've seen them about other issues in the past, whether it's been physical problems or problems with their children or their other loved ones. So being a part of their lives and knowing them puts us in a really good place in primary care to be able to try and help them and hopefully be approachable for when people do have difficult times. There are lots of success stories that I could tell you about when services have been working well. And I want to tell you about Sarah. Sarah's not her real name, but she's a young lady who had been having some very difficult times in her life. She'd moved around lots of different houses because of issues that had happened in her childhood, and she was brought by a friend. She was really reluctant to see us. When we did see her, we were able to very much congratulate her for coming and having that most difficult step started, and then talk to her about all the different problems that she was having. She was having problems with her housing. Sadly, she did have problems with alcohol and needed support for that. And as we started to get to know her, we were able to refer her on. I mentioned earlier that there's also a service out there to support you called the Talking Therapy Service. First of all, for her depression, and we used the psychological therapies provided by Talking Therapies, which was really helpful. We were then able to try and involve some of our voluntary organisations, and she used Tyneside's Women Health for some counselling and some practical support, which were excellent again. And then we were able to try and address some of the issues with her housing. Being in a stable place enables you to be able to tackle some of these issues, but if you're constantly moving, it can be really difficult. As we got to know Sarah over those months, it was really good to see her responding well and being able to becoming more independent and being able to coming on her own and then be able to really engage with those mental health services. Ultimately, she was able to move somewhere to have a stable house that was her own, set up her own business, and she was able to actually become back an independent person, engaging with all the things she wanted to. So she was able to move out of the region and just really be able to set up from scratch, which was really good to see. So I think as a doctor, that's one of the most rewarding things that we can see when we really try to help someone in real need, but seeing that really making a big impact in their lives. In terms of what makes us effective, I think being able to have good records and sharing with the team in the practice, and that can include other workers such as counsellors or cognitive behavioural therapists, people that work supporting people with different techniques to cope with their mental health. It can enable us to work very effectively with what we call social prescribing, so different organisations from charities that can support people with practical tasks. A lot of people with mental health problems find it hard to go to places to get help, and having people, we call them befrienders or care navigators, people that can help steer them through these different services can be a real support. And then I guess the other bits that we're effective is that we absolutely want to keep in touch with all the different services out there so that we can signpost patients to the right place to get care. It's quite an overwhelming set of services out there, and I think as general practitioners we're probably well placed to try and help patients get to the right place that can help support them.
It goes to the Calvert Trust with the support of the budget. It goes to Centre Parks with the support of the budget.
As a GP, I'm always keen to improve the services that are out there. One of my big frustrations is about how patients have to tell their story on more than one occasion to lots of different people that they see. So the first thing I would love us to do is try and integrate how information flows. And there's a project called the Great North Care Record, trying to join up information to enable patients to not have to tell their story more than one, and to allow patients to be able to have control of their information and decide if they want to share it with other professionals. There are lots of other things we could do that would join up care, and often that's about trying to think how there's a single point of access, and that single point of access tries to help people navigate. So we in general practice try and help people get from where they are with their needs to the places that can offer their care, but sometimes the journey can be a little bit fragmented if people are sent to one service who then feels they need to send to another service. So there's a little bit about how we join things up. So those are the types of things that we would like to do. I think as a country though, we're absolutely wanting to make sure that mental health services are invested in and that we have really good mental health services out there, recognising for a lot of people at this time there is so much need, and that need is increasing for support out there.